Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. I did this report before, but I am doing it again because I kind of want to re-emphasize it. I don't think it gets anywhere near enough airplay. I don't think it gets anywhere enough attention. The Pentagon can't account for 6.5 trillion with a T of taxpayers' money. This story just blows me away. It's like I don't understand why this story is taken so casually. This is a big fucking deal. The Pentagon failed to account for 6.5 trillion in its financial statement, a recently recovered Inspector General's report on the 2015 fiscal year said. It revealed the audit of the Department of Defense was materially misstated. The Army failed to provide accurate, complete, timely, and well-supported documents that could explain the use of trillions of dollars in quarterly and yearly adjustments. The United States military made 2.8 trillion in wrongful adjustments in one quarter alone in 2015 and 6.5 trillion for the year, but could not provide anything that would detail the money that it spent. Essentially, where's the money? What do you spend? How do you spend $6.5 trillion over the course of 1 year and can't account for what you've done with that money? That's a massive amount of cash. We're talking about a budget this year of the military for what? $8 million. I always say trillion because of other stuff, but let's say $8 million or $1 trillion. This is $6 trillion over the course of a year. That's a year. What are you doing with that money? That's $6.5 trillion. And they're making accounting adjustments to kind of wash it away as if the money wasn't there. You know, this is one of those things like the United States military or the military under Trump or the Pentagon, whatever you want to call it, was shipping weapons and money to Syrian elements. Again, to undermine the Syrian government. Now, they're shipping this through, you know, kind of bad channels and all this other stuff, but they wanted to scrub the documentation that they ever shipped it at all to essentially cover their trail. $6.5 trillion. We're dicking about healthcare. $6.5 trillion. But the students in this particular country, the young people, the kids, can't do anything about education for you. You're going to have to pay $50,000 if you want to have an education. If you have the temerity to get an education. $50,000. But the United States military, our military, gets $6 trillion over the course of a year. They can't. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. I'm just saying that there's a huge amount of money for everybody to just kind of turn a blind eye to. $6.5 trillion. I can't imagine that number. That number is breathtaking. That number is breathtaking. There were a total of 64,321 journal voucher adjustments made in the third quarter and 142,355 by the year end. But only 7,000 of them were supported with detailed documentation of transactions. The Inspector General also have found that 16,513 of the 1.3 million records were removed from the Pentagon's budget system during the third quarter of the 2015 fiscal year. They were hiding their trail. They were covering their tracks. We spent $6.5 trillion of the American taxpayers' money. And guess where that money comes from? It's not created. They didn't increase taxes on the wealthy to pay for it. They borrowed it. They borrowed it. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. We are $20 trillion in debt. Understand the gravity of that statement. $20 trillion in debt. Now, that number wouldn't necessarily be so daunting, and it wouldn't be a big deal if you got something for it. What did you get for it? Do you have a more secure world? Do you have a more secure world? That's a flat fact answer. Yes or no? Yes or no? With the Middle East on fire and a puppet dictator in North Korea that could at any moment set off a nuclear bomb, do you have a better world for that cash? That answer is no. There's no honest answer. There's no honest context to come up with any answer other than no. $6.5 trillion in no way gave you a safer world. In fact, it set the world on fire. We are quibbling about health care. This person's mom is sick. This person's grandmother is ill. This other person is a child. They have to deal with bills. They have to deal with health care. They have to deal with all this stuff. But the federal government doesn't have a say in that particular conversation. They came out with Obamacare. That was the best that the Democratic Party could do. Show me what you stand for. And what they stood for was a market-driven solution to health care that left 20 million people still unemployed, uninsured. $6.5 trillion. I keep saying the number because the number is just mind-blowing and breathtaking. $6.5 trillion. I don't understand why the media doesn't care about this. If you had an honest media, and that honest media, the main function will be the whole government accountable, to be this kind of tide against the night of sorts. The last thing you want is a government that's unaccountable to the people that they serve. How do you remain unaccountable? You remain unaccountable by doing shit in the shadows. Who prevents government from doing things in the shadows? Oh, that's supposed to be media. That's supposed to be media. Your military. Just one aspect of your government. This is not the entirety of your government. You understand this. One aspect of your government spent or dicked around with $6.5 trillion. And they don't want to account for where that money went. Just amazing that this gets a pass. That's all. I'll put in an article at the bottom. Yeah, I just find this to be an amazing thing that people look at this. They spent $6.5 billion of blood and treasure, but we're having this conversation that the public itself, the American public, is not good enough for healthcare, apparently. Not good enough for healthcare. Not good enough to have college paid for by the treasure of the nation itself. Any Western nation, the standard of living in any Western nation, for the most part, dwarfs America. Understand what I'm saying? This idea that they have the ability to go to school, they have the ability to get health care. None of these things are concerns that weigh on their minds when they get older. They don't have a society that goes about beating them about the head from cradle to the grave to see what they can rip out their pockets. They have their problems, that's true. But health care and college is not one of them. It's not one of them. And this is in the context of a military that plays around with $6 trillion. Not going to beat a dead horse. Not going to scream about it any more than I already have. That's just a lot of money. That's your money. That's taxpayers' money. And also think about this: when Donald Trump goes to drop taxes on the wealthy. Well, if you're dropping taxes on the wealthy and you're still continuing to murder people abroad, how's that going to work? How is that going to work? So, alright guys, if you enjoy the content, feel free to share, write, subscribe, and of course, you can always support the work with Patreon. Thanks guys.